All right, so what does it take to love your country? What does it take to be patriotic? So we're going to be talking about that for the next few days because of the 250th birthday. Joining us now from San Diego is A.J. Paschuti. Okay, he is the author of a book called Dark Horse, Harnessing Hidden Potential in War and Life. He is one of the few Marines classified as a gunner. He's a sniper and was engaged in Iraq mostly. Meritorious service, Combat V, 2 combat action ribbons, on and on and on and on. So, AJ, you signed up for the military at age 17, I assume because of 9/11, right?
That's correct. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Bill. I'm really excited to be here.
Sure.
Yes, so signed up right after 9/11. I was a senior in high school. I'm a family of immigrants. My father was an Italian immigrant, and when he came to the United States, he fell into the idea of wanting to be, like you mentioned earlier, was wanting to work for the betterment of the country, betterment of other people, and so kind of raised me with that. So I was a Boy Scout and an Eagle Scout, and when 9/11 happened, I was searching for purpose and something, to be able to give back to my country and my community. And the Marine Corps felt like the next right option to do that. And so I embarked on an odyssey for 21 years, deploying around the world, multiple combat tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, and North Africa, and was able to find my own success through the career, and wanted to be able to write a book that captured not only the successes, but how they came to be. And Dark Horse itself is a person that is not necessarily the most prevalent of people to come to the front of mind. Success wasn't determined for me. It was people along the way that made me see my own potential and brought me to a successful career. One of the highlights of the career was being able to the only confirmed sniper versus sniper hunt. I hunted an enemy sniper named Juba, who you may remember from the mid 2000s, who was posting his videos online. And so the entire Marine Corps, set out to try to find this, elusive sniper, in my team, and I were able to set a trap for him, hunt him, and eliminate him. And with that, we returned a stolen U.S. Marine sniper rifle, which is now on display in the National Museum of the Marine Corps in Quantico.
Okay, so this is like the Eastwood movie American Sniper. Not exactly, but they were after a big time Iraqi terrorist who was doing the same thing. I have a bunch of personal questions for you, AJ. I hope you don't mind. So, the Marine Corps has always taught discipline. It's not an easy road to go to Paris Island or to Coronado and become a Marine. Yeah, I mean, they try to break you. Mm-hmm. And was that a good thing for you? Did that change you, that kind of Marine training?
I would say yes. I think that who I am today was not who I was when I was 17. And the Marine Corps, I owe everything in my life and where I'm at now, to the Marine Corps and the people inside of it. The culture shock of being a civilian kid from Silicon Valley, right? And then showing up at Marine boot camp in San Diego. I mean, the culture shock on that was absolutely huge. But what they're doing is they're indoctrinating you into a culture of how to be and who to be as a person. What we do inside of the Marine Corps is we always give everything back to the team. Everything goes back to the unit, to the service, to the country. So why we come together and why we work so well is because everybody's green when you join the Marine Corps, right? You're not black, you're not white, you don't come, it doesn't matter where you come from. The mission is what matters, and the Marine to your left and to your right. And so we wanted to cover that in the book Dark Horse and kind of write to that. What makes us special, what makes us unique is the fact that we come from so many different places, but we have a common mission that we don't let anything come in the way of that.
Well, the common mission is to survive, because they're kicking the hell out of you, and whenever you're in a circumstance like that, you bond. Do the other young Marines buy into the vision? Or were they going, I don't know whether I should be here, this is way too hard? What was the prevailing wisdom there?
Oh, great question. I actually, one of the cool parts about Dark Horse is I include letters from throughout my entire career. So when I was a private in boot camp, I was writing those letters being like, I made a huge mistake. This is terrible. I'm never going to make it. The drill instructors are so mean, all the way through, Operation Iraqi Freedom One and who I was as a young Marine then, Fallujah, writing the letters that I think are what we call death letters that your family reads after you die, all the way through the final act of my career and writing the very last page of the book is called A Letter to the Leader. And that is what I encapsulate 21 years of leadership lessons that I learned throughout my life. And so, yes, we are all filled with fear and anxiety. And that's what we wanted to be able to show in Dark Horse was that I wasn't a hero waiting for my moment. I was a young kid from a place not so different from anyone else's who was able to find his path, and by bringing people together and by people jumping around and being able to make that possible.
Okay, but there was one difference. You were motivated after we were attacked on 9/11 to do something about it.
Mm.
Okay, you were motivated. I'm 17, so I'm not going to get a job, with Amazon. I'm going to go and fight for my country. Do you remember that motivation? Do you remember that, some people call it patriotism. I'm going to stand up for my country. I'm going to do what it takes to advance the security and the benefits of the United States of America. Do you remember that motivation?
Absolutely. And I still do. And what I think that is the young generation of Marines now, even before I retired and now to this day, they still have that same desire, that same understanding. They want to give back to the country. They want to be able to give back to the system that made them, that gave them these opportunities. I'll quote, an author of whom I've read before. It says, the true heroes of America are the men, women, and teenagers who go to work for a modest wage, fulfill their responsibilities for their families and friends, and are kind and generous to others. That is what makes America special. And so military service or service to the greater good is what I want to be able to emphasize to people is that we benefit so much. As an immigrant son, I understood how much we benefited and how great our country is. And so I wanted to compel the next generation, one, tell them that they're okay, they're going to be just fine, they're going to have to work for it, just like every other generation ahead of them. But this is something so fantastic that they should want to serve it in whatever capacity. First responder, teacher, military, as long as they're serving their communities and stepping into that. And if I can motivate one person to do that, then Dark Horse has done its job.
Yeah, and you will. But not everybody feels that way, AJ. There's a lot of cynicism about the United States right now. You just saw the poll. 66% love their country, the rest don't love it. I mean, a lot of it's Donald Trump, a lot of it's party politics, a lot of it's apathy, a lot of it's social media. So there's a wave now. It's not like after World War II, okay, where everybody was, let's go, we're all together, we just defeated Hitler and Tojo. So now we're going to go back and build American society. It's not like that now. It's divided. And the Marines aren't. I mean, you can't operate in that system. You have to basically buy into the patriotism. Do you consider yourself a patriot?
Unequivocally, yes. And I don't know that my service in the military, quantifies me as more patriotic or less of a patriot than other people. I think that the idea of patriotism is you're allowed to love your country, right? You're allowed to question your country, but the idea is that we believe in one another. I am open to it, and I see it just as much as the next person, is that our country is oftentimes deeply divided. And when I look back to the 250 years before this, this time may feel unprecedented, but we've had hard times before. And I believe in people. I believe in Americans. What I've learned in combat is that nobody gets through combat alone. It's always the team. It's always the people coming together. If we can take the responsibility as Americans, I'm frustrated just like the next person, right? But if we as responsibility of Americans don't look at other Americans as the enemy and we can look at them for their potential to work together towards a common good, then I think we have a chance.
See, but the common good is the problem. So some people,
That's the question.
right? Some people think the common good is doing what you did, devoting your adult life, a large part of it, to defending your country. And other people think the common good is Antifa blowing up ICE headquarters. That's always been the problem, even at the Revolutionary War. You had 50% of the colonists wanting to stay with the king, and they thought that was best for the common good. Last question for you. And the book again is Dark Horse, Harnessing Hidden Potential in War and Life. When you're in there and in the middle of horrific combat, and you're hunting down a sniper, the Iraqi terrorist, and you're seeing your guys, your friends, some of them get blown to bits, all right? When you're in there, okay, were you 100% accepting of that circumstance? And I raised the question because now with our Iranian situation, we got people in this country because they got to pay $1 more a gallon at the gas pump who go, no, we're not going to do anything. We don't want anything to do with it. And I'm seeing kind of a flow there. So in your circumstance, did you ever question, what the hell am I doing here? And my best friend just got blown up.
I did quite often. It's hard. I think that, to directly answer your question, yes, absolutely, we did, because you see the natural, I would say, systems that happen inside of Washington and the policy that kind of goes back and forth, and people and punditry talking about what happens in the war. But really what happens is, I think I'm being careful because I'm not trying to be a politician, but I do think we should talk honestly about the cost of war. I think for the politicians in Washington, war may be about strategy or budget or policy, but for the people who fight it, me and my friends, the men and women that serve, who wrote a blank check to the United States of America, payable with their lives, war to me are names and faces and memories of people that may not come home. So if we do choose to send our American service members to war, of which I'm not an advocate for or against war, it is a tool. But if we choose to send them there, it must be necessary, it must be lawful, and it must be worth the cost. Veterans are not victims. We are advocates of our own success. We are patriots, as we've mentioned before. But the same idea is that responsibility to be able to send an American such as myself or my comrades to war needs to be protected, and it needs to be wielded very carefully.
That's well said, AJ. Thank you for coming on and talk to us. Happy 4th of July. My best to everybody in California.
Happy 4th of July. Thank you so much.